2023 latest thriller escape movie. Inside is coming by Gayo Ram. The man in front of him is a high-end art thief. Any portrait he sets his eyes on, no matter how many security personnel are present, he can easily steal it. On this day, he sneaked into the apartment of New York's most famous painter as usual. The walls were full of priceless paintings. Any one of them could be sold for tens of millions of dollars. After searching for a while, Mark put all the treasures he could take into his bag. But just as he entered the password and was about to leave the painter's apartment, he accidentally triggered the security system in the room.
As the alarm sounded, all the entrances and exits in the room activated the anti-theft program, and every door was forcefully locked. Seeing his burglary about to be exposed, Mark quickly went to the window and prepared to break it open. He lifted a 100-pound iron block and smashed it towards the glass. But to his surprise, the glass was bulletproof. Not only was the glass undamaged, it also exhausted Mark. Seeing that breaking the window was not feasible, Mark had to go to the front door and tried to pry open the lock with a knife. After digging for nearly half an hour, the wood grain inside gradually emerged in front of him. Just as Mark was using his hands to move aside the wood chips, he discovered a thick layer of steel behind the wooden board. It was obvious that the owner of the house had anticipated that someone might break in and had specifically designed a trap to catch Mark. After trying 2 different methods to leave the apartment without success, Mark didn't panic. Instead, he went to the bathroom to drink some water and replenish his energy. However, just as he was about to take a sip, the water stopped flowing from the tap. It was clear that the painter didn't want Mark to feel too comfortable living in the apartment. After searching through the refrigerator for a while, Mark found a bottle of mineral water that someone else had left behind. At this point, Mark didn't care whether there were any bacteria in the water. He just opened the bottle and started drinking. After replenishing his body with the necessary water, Mark used his knife to scrape off the mold from the biscuit and shoved it straight into his mouth. It was the only way he could stay alive and leave this place. After filling his stomach, Mark lay down on the mattress and fell into a deep sleep. The next day, he sat at the desk and tried to dial an outside phone number, but just like the night before, all electronic devices had lost their signal. As he looked up at the ceiling, Mark accidentally discovered the large hollow lamp in the center. If he could touch the ceiling, he could escape through the pipes. Mark picked up furniture of all sizes and pushed them into the center of the living room, creating a makeshift ladder. After working tirelessly for a day and a night, Mark finally pieced them together. However, as he stood up and touched the large lamp on the ceiling, he realized that there was a thick layer of steel above it. Seeing his hope fade away once again, Mark didn't say much and just sat on the stairs, lost in thought. He seemed to have lost all hope and had already finished all the water he had. Now, he had to lick the water droplets off the refrigerator to stay hydrated. Mark even scraped the ice cubes off the bottom of the refrigerator. After working tirelessly for a day and a night, Mark sat on the sofa in the living room and talked to the woman on the monitor. This was his only source of entertainment. However, just as Mark was about to turn off the lights and go to sleep, the girl on the screen suddenly appeared at the door of the apartment and began cleaning with her headphones on. Seeing an opportunity, Mark quickly put on his clothes and went to the back of the door, shouting for help. However, the girl couldn't hear him because of her headphones, and Mark had to watch as the opportunity slipped away again. After a series of failures, Mark didn't give up but became more determined. He believed that he would find a way to leave. Picking up a vase from the ground, Mark smashed it on the floor and picked up 2 pieces to make a makeshift eye mask using duct tape and cloth. This would protect his eyes from the sunlight that shone through the ceiling. With the sound of tapping, the cement on the ceiling began to shine, revealing a bolt with a nut. Mark used a wooden board from the table leg to make a simple wrench. If he could successfully remove all the screws, Mark would be able to open the ceiling and escape. With one nut successfully removed, Mark danced happily. But the next second, he fell down the wooden ladder, dozens of meters high. Although he was closer to escaping the apartment, his thigh was broken, and Mark was on the brink of collapse. That night, he dreamed that the woman in the video appeared in his room, gently touching his face, getting closer and closer until she was about to kiss him. Mark woke up, realizing it was all a hallucination. Seeing himself as a useless person, Mark lit his hand on fire and climbed onto the kitchen table, hoping to trigger the fire alarm and be rescued. However, as he waited for the police to arrive, the sprinkler system automatically turned on, and Mark realized that everything was part of the owner's plan. He went mad, but managed to neatly arrange the removed nuts and slowly crawled toward the ceiling. In the next moment, Mark disappeared into the living room, and a figure flashed across the ceiling's pipes. Nobody knew whether this was Mark's hallucination or if he had truly escaped the apartment. The movie ended with an open ending.